Hi, I'm Tom Campbell from Cultaholic.com, joined by Adam Pacino. No, he's off again. He's just got back.
Yeah, what's going on? I'll tell you what, though. I'm disappointed not to see Barry the Shark make an appearance. I was quite a fan of Barry.
Do you realise how much it cost to get Barry the Shark in?
Was he a bit of a diva?
Oh my God, mate. We'll put it this way. It would have blown the budget for All Out.
Right,
if
fair
he was
enough.
part of that. But he's not here, but I'll tell you who is here.
Oh.
I'll tell you what is here.
Go on.
News! We have details on the scrapped return of a WWE tag team. We'll tell you who's just been added to AEW All Out and which WWE wrestler wants to be the next Grand Slam champion. Find out soon. What about that tag team turmoil match on Raw, Jack?
It was a bit of a strange one. We had all these tag teams in, various ones, the Revival, the B Team, Go Go Go, and the winners as well, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Not a usual pairing that we've seen before.
There was a reason for that, as we have discovered. So there was a few things on that rule that got rewritten and rehashed at the last minute. One of the things that was supposed to happen was we were supposed to see the return of the Authors of Pain.
Right.
Akam and Razor finally healthy at the same time.
Yeah, they've had a bit of bad luck with injuries and stuff. When one's been healthy, the other one's sadly picked up an injury, and you can't just have one Author of Pain. So I can see why they've kept them both on the shelf.
Now they've got a full book and they're ready to return again, but that was halted at the last minute. Now, according to Brian Alvarez, he says, my understanding is the Authors of Pain were an option for last night. They decided not to use them. Now, the belief from Dave Meltzer is that they decided to shelf the return of the Authors of Pain because they wanted a tag team to face Seth and Braun at Clash of Champions that wouldn't look that bad if they lost.
Right.
Kind of. Sort of.
That's strange for two. Well, no, it's strange for one reason, and then the other reason that's just popped in my head there makes sense. So I can see why they wouldn't want to bring the Authors of Pain back that night, because they'd have to find a way to eliminate them from the gauntlet if they were in that, and you don't want to have them eliminate when they're just coming back off a big return.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm surprised that Rollins and Strowman are thought to be at least keeping those titles through Clash of Champions, because I would have thought, well, they're having their match they'd lose the titles, that would add fuel to their match in the main event for the Universal Championship. But maybe there's a different dynamic going on. Maybe they're going to keep the belts and that'll still play into the storyline once they've had their match for the belt. I don't.
There's also something quite promising about that. They've also said we don't want an established tag team to face them, because I always feel when you have these instances where it's a makeshift tag team, they have happened a lot in the past. Like, I always feel like it can sully a tag team division if two lads who are just hoy together are infinitely greater than a team that has crafted and grafted as well for their division, and it just seems a bit wrong to do it that way. So I guess this way feels, at least they're not beating an established tag team if they win.
Yeah, that is very true. I guess even in this case, to be honest, Rollins and Strowman could be a bit of an exception, because even though they don't have that chemistry, they don't work together, they're two individuals rather than a team. But despite that, they're both really strong superstars. So in this case, I can sort of see why. But it was quite questionable when Ziggler and Roode won the tournament, the little tag team match going on, because I thought maybe they've been taking secret tag team lessons for decades together. And now they just know each other so well.
Gone to the Tibetan mountains.
I've recycled a joke from Graded there. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine, honestly. Some of the best jokes are recycled.
Okay.
It's a new audience, it's a fresh viewership. It's fine. You never heard that joke before, it's brand new.
Thank you.
Tell you what, the Casino Battle Royale doesn't look good.
What?
It looks awesome. Oh, hey now. Awesome Kong has been added to the Battle Royale.
That's really good news. I love Awesome Kong. I think she's brilliant. I think when it's all said and done and she decides to retire, she'll be looked back upon as like one of the best and most unique women's wrestlers, certainly of the 21st century. I think she's great.
She really stands out in a women's division, and although her time in the WWE was very brief, like, it was impactful.
Yes, it was. Impactful. Yes, it was. No, but it was. Now, this is interesting because she can play, she's obviously a powerhouse. She can play that role in a battle royale where it works really well. But do you think she's going to win? I
talked about this on the podcast this morning. I think she will. I think it's a mistake to not have somebody like Awesome Kong at the very top of the tree when it comes to a women's division, because I think she's either an imposing force to be chasing a belt, or she is like this monster that sits atop the tree. You've got a metaphorical tree.
Yeah.
And all comers come at her. Just like swinging the belt around the. I don't know why I'm imagining Awesome Kong on top of a tree.
Now, I think that this is good as well because of the publicity it could attract for them. Because obviously, Awesome Kong has a role in Glow, and Glow's back in the headlines because of season 3, which I haven't yet watched.
Oh, it's great!
Is it?
Oh, it's really good. It's really good. I won't tell you. Actually.
Okay, thank you very much.
Actually, no, I won't tell you.
Okay.
What if she comes out as Welfare Queen?
That'll be would that be amazing? Would that be amazing?
No, it'd be awful.
Okay,
It'd
right.
really make me happy as a fan of the Glow ladies.
Some other featured entrants as well in this who've been doing their little vignettes, I suppose, with Jake the Snake Roberts as the blackjack dealer. He wants to play. You want to play 21? I've got 3. Yeah.
Snap.
Snap. Uno. Teal Piper, obviously the daughter of Rowdy Roddy Piper. Eva Lease, you may be familiar with her mostly from, I guess, Lucha Underground. Big Swole, Ariel Monroe.
Big Swole.
Sadie Gibbs, and my sentimental favourite, who I want to win, but I don't think she will, Jazz from back in the day.
Just
back
for
in
that
Attitude
big
Era.
metal mask she's got going on at
the
the
look
moment.
she's got is so awesome. She shaved her head. She looks menacing. I think that's great.
She looks like a beast. Sending well wishes to WWE superstar Rey Mysterio and current Impact World Champion Brian Cage, both currently getting stem cell treatment.
Interesting.
Now, Rey Mysterio has talked about this a couple of times over the last few months. He posted a picture on Instagram, I think only just the other night, where he's having his stem cell treatment at BioAccelerator in South America. And also, we saw Brian Cage talk about this quite a bit as well, because Brian Cage has some bad luck with injury.
Right.
And he decided, because since like April, he won the belt, he won the Impact Championship in April.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a back injury in that match and just hasn't really got the motor running since then. So now he's opting for stem cell treatment as well.
Interesting. I mean, it's not an area of expertise for me, it's any sort of medical sort of injury news, but...
Apparently it's the use of stem cells to treat or prevent a disease.
Nice.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Now, I mean, I think it's interesting because nobody expected, I know it wasn't stem cell research, but nobody expected Daniel Bryan to be able to reinvigorate his career as he has, or even return to the ring. So it's interesting to see where, I guess, modern medicine can impact the wrestling business.
I think a lot of people are are looking to stuff like stem cell treatment, and I'm sure now the comments are just full of reasons why it's controversial and wrong, and that's fine.
Right.
And it's a great discussion to have. But a lot more people are going to it just because there seems to be success with it. Like Rey Mysterio has been a big advocate of stem cell treatment,
right?
And it's added years onto his career,
right,
because it's improved and reinvigorated his body, and hoping it does the same for Brian Cage, who I think is brilliant.
Oh yeah, he's totally unique in wrestling, and Rey Mysterio as well. I mean, he seems to be verging on some sort of retirement storyline with his son Dominic, and everyone's been theorizing: is Dominic going to turn heel on Rey? And I think, can that happen? They can't do that. But of course they can. It's the wrestling business.
Of course they will. Yeah. He'll come down to the ring. He's going to hit somebody else with a steel chair. Then he hits Rey. Out comes Volta.
Yes, of course, because everyone's been pointing out that Dominic looks like Volta. So they're going to have another custody of Dominic.
I'm your daddy.
Yeah.
Chops
Ich
for daddy.
bin deiner Vater. Oh, they could have a child come in and claim that he's Rey Mysterio's real son and there's only one, and him and Dominic have to have a custody of dad ladder match. Yeah.
What a tangled web we weave. The world's most dangerous man is coming back to wrestling, Jack.
Steve Blackman, the lethal weapon.
The second most dangerous man is coming back to wrestling.
Ken Shamrock.
Ken Shamrock.
Absolutely.
This is brilliant. Ken Shamrock is going to be in Las Vegas for the Impact tapings next week, and he's been getting some love from a massive WWE legend.
One of the biggest of all, The Rock. He's been a fan last night tweeted about how underrated Ken Shamrock was as a part of the Attitude Era, because everyone obviously talks about Austin and Vince and DX and Kane Undertaker and everything, but The Rock agreed that Shamrock had been underrated and said that he was a big part of building the Rock character and that they tore the house down together. And I think it's true as well. He was one of Rock's first big feuds when he turned heel, I suppose, like back when he was in the Nation of Domination. And I think that Shamrock really brought kind of an air of legitimacy, but also, in a way, not as much as someone like Angle or Riddle, but he did really have a knack for pro wrestling as well.
He really did. A lot of people get on his case for not having like the charisma that comes with being a star, but like in terms of presence, I still think he had it. I feel like that there was a point in sort of late '97 where it looked like they were going to shoot him to the moon. He had I always remember one of the first wrestling matches I had when I got back into wrestling. One of the first wrestling matches I watched was Ken Shamrock versus Shawn Michaels.
Oh, right.
The WWF title. I was like, whoa, Shamrock looks like the guy.
Yeah. And also, I guess, yes, he didn't quite have the charisma, but he did, as you say, he did have that presence. My memory of Shamrock in wrestling is always as the special guest referee in the Bret Hart Austin match, where he's like staring down Bret at the end when Bret's just attacked Austin, and Bret goes, "Oh, that's enough," and runs away. Effectively runs away from Ken Shamrock, but it doesn't feel weird. It makes total sense.
Yeah, it makes it, because Shamrock's a terrifying person.
Yeah.
So I know Moose is very much a friend of us here at Cultaholic.
Oh, yes.
And Moose has been the one calling out Ken Shamrock.
No, what? No, Moose, what are you doing?
Good
He's
luck,
the
Moose.
most dangerous man in the world, Moose. Are you joking?
Good.
Oh, no, Danae. I can't believe you. I didn't know that.
No, Moose has been the one calling out Shamrock.
Last time we saw Moose was, I think, at last year's Wrestling Media Con in Manchester. And he was in shades and like all dressed like heeled up because he'd recently turned heel. And I went, "Moose, have you turned heel? Why do you done that?" And he just went, "This isn't me as a heel." I was like, "Oh, right." just how he dresses. He's just full of swag, is Moose.
You swaggery man.
Don't challenge Shamrock.
You're going to die.
Yeah.
And fine, Alamo. Sheamus has been chatting on the Edge and Christian podcast about what he'd like to get done for the remainder of his career. I think, as well as walking around a lot shouting, "Fella!"
Yeah.
He'd also like to win one more belt.
The IC belt, because it's the only one that he can possibly win that he hasn't won, and it would make him a Grand Slam champion. And you know what, right? When I read the report of the Edge and Christian podcast, when I heard this, I thought that's kind of, I felt bad for him. I was like, oh yeah, because he mentions how much, he said there is one thing missing, and that's the IC Championship. That was the one title I loved as a kid, and it's the one title I haven't won. That really hit me, and I was like, oh. Then I thought, no, he's won like everything. Like, why am I so?
He's one of these sleeper guys, and there's a few that because I've got a list here of current Grand Slam champion.
Right.
Not Glam Slam champion.
No.
Those are people that have been attacked by Beth Phoenix. So according to WWE.com, in order to qualify as a Grand Slam champion, you need to have held the Intercontinental belt,
Yes.
the US Championship, any permutation of the tag team titles.
Few, because there's been quite a few.
There's a lot of them bad
Yeah.
boys. And either of the active heavyweight titles, so either the WWE title or the Universal title.
It's got to be one of the active ones.
Yeah.
Ooh, a bit harsh. What if you've been like world heavyweight champion?
Well, there's
I guess
the old. There is
defunct,
some,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there's still new format and old format.
But they're still counted as a Grand Slam champion if they have won one of the old ones back in their right.
Because
right.
there's a separate list here, which is Grand Slam champions under the old format.
Oh, I see. But
As-
we're talking about ones under the current
So
format.
under the current format, we've got Edge, Big Show, Miz, Eddie Guerrero, Daniel Bryan, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, and Rey Mysterio. Some surprising names amongst them.
They really are, and of course that's not included. The old way, you just had to win the three. You just had to win the mid card one, the
That's
tag one, and the main one. Hence, like Pedro Morales and stuff. But yeah, this new one, you've got to win quite a few.
And just before you lose your mind on the comments, Shawn Michaels won it in the old way, because obviously if people think Grand Slam champion,
Oh, yeah.
Shawn Michaels was the guy that sort of put the word out there of a Grand Slam championship. He won it under the old format. Shawn Michaels does still count, as does Triple H, Kane, Jericho, Angle, JBL, Christian, and Booker T under the old.
There's quite a lot. There's been quite a lot of Grand Slam champions, hasn't there? I feel like it wouldn't be weird for Sheamus to join those names. Yes, a lot of them are bigger than him, but I mean, you know, he's won quite a few things. I mean, you forget that one stat that always blew my mind about Sheamus is when he won his third WWE Championship, and then I remember someone saying, "Well, he's won it more times than Macho Man now," and I was just like, "What's going on?"
You know, I feel like in my wrestling fandom lifetime, I blinked and everybody's won the world title 37 times.
Yeah.
Like, how does that become a thing?
I don't know, but it's still. I still get excited when someone fresh wins the WWE Championship, because it's seldom, you don't see too many new ones win it. Like when Kofi won it, not only because it was Kofi, I was like, that's also a brand new WWE champion. And I think the Universal title will get the same way. But you just give Sheamus an IC run.
Do you know what? Sheamus and Nakamura, I now am intrigued by.
Oh, Sheamus just going for that Grand Slam. That would be a storyline.
That'd be all right. We'll have that. We'll have that definitely. I haven't got an outro. Barry's too expensive to have an outro.
Diva.
He's a proper diva. But here's Jack the Jobber in a t-shirt talking about Patreon.
Oh, if you like what we do, oh no, it's the. Wait for previous
Wait
me
for
to.
it.
He's going to come in a second.
Now.
Thanks very much for for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us.